But I just love bacon too much. That is probably what most of you would say if I asked you to give up red and processed meats right now. My name is Valerie, and today I will be talking to you about the dangers of consuming red and processed meats. This is relevant to all of you because the impact these meats have on your health are serious and deadly. I'm the right person to tell you about this topic because I have done research to support my claim that red and processed meats are dangerous. Today I will tell you about the correlation between eating red and processed meats and diseases like diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. Then, at the end of my presentation, I will recap and answer questions. Now let me start by talking to you about diabetes. Studies have linked the consumption of processed meats to the development of type 2 diabetes. According to Renata Micah, research fellow for the Department of Epidemiology at Harvard School of Public Health and lead author of the study linking processed meats to diabetes published in 2010. Processed meats are defined in the study as any meat preserved by smoking, curing, or salting, or with the addition of chemical preservatives. Examples include bacon, salami, sausages, hot dogs, or processed deli or luncheon meats, according to Todd Datz, author of the press release of the study. So, our favorite breakfast meat that we are all so devoted to falls into this category, unfortunately. Studies done by Dr. Neil Barnard, member of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, show that women who eat meat are 40% more likely to develop diabetes, and men who eat meat are 80% more likely to develop diabetes, compared to a vegetarian test group. Now let's talk about heart disease. Studies published in 2018 have found that consumption of red meat increases your chances of developing heart disease, according to the research team led by Dr. Stanley L. Hazen. The good news is that these damaging effects are reversible when individuals discontinue their consumption of red meat. Most of us have probably heard before that foods high in saturated fats, such as red meat, are contributors to heart disease, and this is verified by the American Heart Association. According to the AHA, limiting or reducing your red meat intake can lower your chances of heart disease. According to a recent article published by Marla Paul in 2020 by the Feinberg School of Medicine, consumption of red or processed meat twice a week was associated with a 3 to 7% increase of cardiovascular disease. Even more alarming, the same amount of red or processed meat per week is also linked to a 3% higher risk of all causes of death. That's every single cause of death. Eating meat twice a week is hardly any meat, yet it increases risk factors such as heart disease and even death by a minimum of 3%. Most of us eat meat much more than 2 servings of meat per week, making this statistic much scarier. Now let's discuss cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, processed meats and dioxins are listed as known carcinogens on the same list as tobacco, plutonium, ionized radiation, arsenic compounds, formaldehyde, and asbestos. According to the World Health Organization, dioxin is a toxic chemical that causes reproductive harm, damages your immune system, and causes cancer. Dioxins are exposed to humans through meat, as it is accumulated through the food chain because it is stored in the fatty tissues of animals that we eat. According to the World Health Organization, processed meats are identified as a Class 1 carcinogen on the same list as tobacco and asbestos. Red meat is associated with colorectal cancer and stomach cancer. Red and processed meats together cause approximately 84,000 cancer deaths per year, 50,000 deaths per year from red meat, and 34,000 from processed meats. That is a shockingly high number of deaths caused by our favorite breakfast meat, bacon. That brings us to the conclusion of this presentation. Today we learned about the dangers of meat and processed meats, including diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. We learned that meats like bacon can increase your chances of diabetes by 40 to 80%. Eating red meat increases your chances of developing heart disease and even death by at least 3%. And we learned that processed meat and red meat consumption kills 84,000 people a year from cancer. So now if I asked you to give up red and processed meats, you might consider leaving the side of diabetes, heart disease, and cancer off of your plate from time to time because bacon does not love you back.